Okay, by the way, if in case we already consumed the 40 minutes limit, the 40-minute limit of this Zoom teleconference, we will use the same link. So balik lang kayo. So I will click on the link again. You return to the same link for Zoom telecon for us to complete the 1-hour session. Okay, maliwanag ba yun? If that's clear, please a thumbs up on your screen. If the instructions are clear, please thumbs up on your screen. Parang wala akong nakitang thumbs up. Maliwanag ba ang lahat? Is everything clear? Thumbs up on your screen. If it's not clear, raise your question now. Unmute your microphone kung merong mga bagay na hindi pa maliwanag. Kasi gusto ko maliwanag ang lahat-lahat bago tayo mag-umpisa. Okay. Thank you for your thumbs up. Okay. Our first topic for this semester has something to do with the learner-centered theories. So our course is facilitating learner-centered teaching. So perhaps you have heard a lot about the phrase, the compound word, learner-centered. How do you comprehend in this before we resume with this topic? Can I get your responses, your understanding about the phrase or the compound word, learner-centered? Miss Manabat. Miss Naren Manabat.
Hello po, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, Naren. Can
po.
you state your understanding on the phrase learner-centered? How do you understand learner-centered? What does it mean to you? Anong pagkakaintindi mo sa phrase na yun, sa word na yun?
Parang ano po, sir?
Actually, it's a word, not a phrase, okay?
Yes, sir. Parang learner-centered. Parang nagpo-focus ka po sa ano, sir? Sa... Hindi ko alam, sir. Sorry.
Okay. I've heard the word focus. That's correct. We focus on something. And because we have the word learner, therefore, we focus on the learner. So when you teach, everything starts from the learners. Okay? It's not about your content. It's not about your subject. It's not about you as a teacher. Everything starts from the learner. So whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever activities you provide inside your classroom, the starting point are your learners. That's why we call it learner-centered. Yun ang ibig sabihin niyan. That every decision you make, any pedagogical decision or teaching decision you make, it depends heavily on the learner. Oh, and when I say learner, it's about their interests. It's about their needs. It's about the way they want to learn. So point here is, when you teach, it's not about you. It's not about how you want to teach them, but it's about how they want to learn the subject and how they want to be taught. That's our concern here. So the first topic, again, is understanding learning through the learner-centered theory. So under this topic, we are going to have the following objectives. First, we are going to define what is learning. Okay, this is to make sure that everybody in this teleconference will have the same conception, the same perspective about learning. Baka mamaya iba-iba tayo ng pagkakaintindi sa salitang learning. At least early at this point, we will understand learning using the perspective of the experts. Okay. Second, we are going to state the different types of learning. Third, we are going to analyze different learner-centered theories of learning. Yung mga teorya pag-aaralan natin. So for what? Because you can use these theories as your guide when you become a teacher or when you enter already the field of teaching. And lastly, we're going to state the pedagogical implications of each theory. So para saan nga ba itong pinag-aaralan natin? What for? Why are we studying these theories? Why are we studying the different types of learning? Why do we need to define learning? For what? It's to improve ourselves as teachers. Okay, lalo na kayo as future teachers, you need to have this open mind, open heart, and a wide perspective to understand your profession. At paanong paraan gagawin yan? Using, of course, one of this course as the instrument. Okay, this will be our session outline. So I use questions to guide you on the directions or the direction of this session. So first, we are going to answer the question, what is learning? Second, the question, what is a learning theory? What do we mean by a learning theory? Third, what are the types of learning? Fourth, what is meant by learner-centered? Yung tanong ko kanina, okay, which I think I already answered. Well, if you have any other answer or response to that, you may feel free to ask permission and to unmute your microphone. Next, we are going to answer also the question, what are the learner-centered psychological principles? Okay, sixth, what are the learner-centered strategies suggested by Sandra in 2011? And lastly, we are going to list down and to enumerate the different theories of learning. So please be guided with this framework, okay, for you to understand better this session. So let's start with the first one. Let us define learning. So what is learning now? What is learning now? How do you understand the concept learning? Pag sinabing pagkatuto, anong ibig sabihin nun? Let's have Miss Mendoza, Jamie. I know you're listening, Jamie. Please unmute your microphone. At nararamdaman ko, Jamie, gusto mong mag-recite sa mga oras na to. Actually, chinat na akong Jamie, sir, please, sausan mo ko po ta. Ayun,
Hi,
sige.
sir.
Request granted, Jamie. How do you understand the word learning?
For me, sir, learning is very different than knowledge, sir. Kasi po, nung pong dati po, sir, nabanggit na din po kasi yung question na learning. Yung sagot ko rin po nun is, ano po, based from experience, bale, yung mga tinuturo sa'yo, yung mga bagay na na-experience mo na, kapag na-adapt mo yun, that is learning.
Okay. Well, that's a very nice example coming from Miss Mendoza talking about experiences. Yung mga famous quotation niya na we learn from experience. Yung sinasabi nila, experience is the best teacher. Diba? So very good, Jamie. It's a very nice illustration of learning. That's the definition of Jamie, and that's how she understands learning. Now let's see if what she knows matches with the perspectives from the experts. Okay. It says here, learning extends much more beyond the confines of the classroom. So tanggalin na natin yung iniisip natin na kapag learning sa classroom lang. No. Okay? It goes beyond the four corners of the classroom. So learning does not only happen in school. That's the point. Yet, it says here, however, teachers play a major role in the students' learning, and that's a common fact. Okay? Because as learners spend length of time schooling, sino ba ang kasama nila? Of course, the teacher. So we have a very large or huge influence to our learners. And as quoted, the goal of education is learning, which means that we are dominantly contributing to the learning and growth of every person entering our school. So kapag nasa school na sila, they are officially enrolled, we have the responsibility to make them learn. Okay? So that's what we mean by learning based on the first perspective. Let's have another perspective. It says here, the process of education is a deliberate effort to ensure that as students go up the educational ladder, developmental changes in their personality are affected. I want you to focus on the clause, developmental changes in their personality are affected. What do we mean by that? Miss Gavino, Princess? What do we mean by
Yes
the last
po.
clause? Yes, Miss Gavino. Developmental changes in their personality are affected as they go up the educational ladder. As they move up from grade 1 up to junior high school, moving to senior high school, moving to college, developmental changes should be there. What do we mean by that?
As we grow up po, parang kapag pumapasok po tayo sa school, mas namomold po natin yung knowledge natin.
Okay.
Mas namomold po natin yung challenge natin, knowledge natin sa school po.
Exactly. Speaking of knowledge, it's about knowledge. No? School is knowledge, but not only about knowledge. It's the holistic growth. Okay, it's not only something cognitive. Okay, I'd like to emphasize that. Kung narinig nyo na yung sikat na initials sa lesson plan, ang CAP, CAP, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. And say cognitive, it's about the development of the mind. Affective, the development of emotional dealings or the emotions, something to do with emotions. Okay? May tinatawag na nga tayong EQ. Kung merong IQ for cognitive, meron ng EQ, emotional quotient. Okay? And the psychomotor aspect. Kaya may mga pa-PE sa school, di ba? Gumagalaw, kumikilos, because we also want to develop a healthy and a sound learner, a sound citizen. Because if you are cognitively prepared, but you are not physically prepared, nahihirapan ka. So we also teach them how to take care of themselves physically. Okay, so it's CAP. Developmental changes in their personality are affected. Now, moving back, this is sinabi ni Ms. Gavina. That's correct. As we grow old, as we spend more years in school, expected that we gain a lot. That when you move from one grade to the other grade, from one level to the other level, they are expecting that you already mastered specific skills. Like kayo, sa college, ano bang ina-expect na sa inyo? Ina-expect ko pa ba na, let's say for instance, ang mga natutunan nyo pa lang ay tungkol sa 4 basic mathematical operations? No, kasi nasa college na kayo. As you move to the educational ladder, mas tumataas ang expectations. Ano ngayon ang meron na kayo? Okay? I'm expecting that at this point, at this age, at this ladder of your educational experience, you already gained the ability to reason out. Ayan, logical reasoning. Yung mga mental processes nyo when it comes to interpreting, when it comes to abstract reasoning, level up na kumpara dun sa nasa elementary at high school. That's what we mean by this. There should be developmental changes. Ngayon, ang tanong, pag yung bata walang nabago sa sarili niya under your supervision for one entire school year, that's a question now. Baka wala kang ginawa. Okay? You did not perform as a teacher. Okay? Maybe cognitively nahirapan ka, but baka naman on the emotional aspect, may nabago ka. There is development. That's still an achievement. Okay, so that's what we mean by this statement, talking about learning. Next. Okay, that's what we mean by learning, using those perspectives. Let's move now to the second topic. What is a learning theory? What do we mean by learning theory? So when we analyze learner-centered theories, you focus on these concepts. Okay, we have the concept about learning, the concept about change in behavior, okay, the concept stating that it can be deliberate or unintentional, the concept about experience and interaction. Anong ibig sabihin yan? First, let's have the concept of learning. So when we say learner-centered theories, definitely learning is your goal. Okay? The purpose is for these learners to gain something, to acquire something. And that's what we call learning, like how we defined learning a while back. Another, learning on some other perspective, they theorize that there should be change in behavior. Kailangan may nababago for you to know that this person or this child gained something. Paano yun? Kapag tinuro mo ang addition, dapat masagot niya ang mga problems about addition. Okay? Kapag nagkwento ka, you told a story into a class, At the end of the story, you have your comprehension questions, then you have comprehension check. For you to know that they listen, you ask them questions. If they can respond, like they can state the characters, they can state the plot of the story, then that's a change in behavior. Pag sinabing behavior dito, I'd like to emphasize and to note that it's not only about the attitude. It's how we behave, okay? In terms of speaking, in terms of movement, in terms of thinking. It's how we put into actions what we have learned into our mind. That's what we mean by change in behavior. Katulad nito, we are doing a lecture. After the session, I'm expecting na yung mga bagay na natututunan natin in this session is something that you could apply in the evaluation part. Okay? Pag nakapasa ka, then there's a change in behavior. Okay? Pag napasa mo ang evaluation, kapag na-i-apply mo na into an activity, yung mga natutunan mo, then there's a change in behavior na dating hindi mo alam mag-add, for instance, in the elementary, pero marunong ka na mag-add after the lesson. You know how to add coins. You know how to add fruits. You know how to count. You've learned how to count. That's change behavior. Okay, another concept about learner-centered theories. It can be deliberate or intentional. Again, we only have 10 minutes for this Zoom telecon. Balik na lang ulit tayo mamaya for us to complete the session. It can be deliberate or unintentional. What do we mean? So when I say deliberate, it's free. It's unconscious. I mean, it's free. Or sometimes it's given. I mean, like it's formal. Ayan, yung nasa classroom ka, and then tuturuan ka ni teacher, everything is planned. Then learning happens, or unintentional. Okay, when we say unintentional, deliberate or unintentional, ito naman yung part na there are things that are not taught to you, but unconsciously you gain them. Natututunan mo na lang nang hindi mo nalalaman. Okay? So that's how other learning theories assume or stand about the concept of learning. Another, learner-centered theories or other learner-centered theories highlights experience and interaction. Ayan, if you have heard about the phrase learning by doing, syempre, narinig nyo na yan. Am I correct, Mr. Paulet?
Opo, sir.
Okay, what do we mean by learning by doing? Bilang isa ka sa mga institusyon sa College of Education, how do you understand learning by doing?
Every time na may ginagawa ka, sir, you learn something na bago or may marirealize ka na bagay na hindi mo siya alam before.
And you will only realize that if you will do it. Yung binanggit mo nga, kapag ginawa mo, dun mo pala matututunan. Like, Leo, naranasan mo na ba inside the classroom nung elementary or high school ka? Nagtuturo si teacher, lecture siya ng lecture pero hindi mo maintindihan. Pero nag-experiment na kayo. Ginawa niyo na, dun mo lang nalaman, naintindihan ng mga bagay-bagay. Have you experienced that?
Opo, sir.
Which one is better for you? Like, how do you assess yourself as a learner? Ikaw ba yung gusto mo na nagle-lecture, magde-discuss sa teacher, and then maintindihan mo na? Or ikaw yung gagawin kapag ginawa mo na, dun mo palang malalaman? How do you assess yourself?
Pagdating po sa math, mas naintindihan ko po pag nag-discuss po yung teacher.
Okay, that's from mathematics.
Hindi ako nagsusulat.
Oo naman, lalo yung mga formula, mga bagong concepts. Kapag ikaw pinagawa sa'yo, yung learning by doing, minsan nahirapan tayo because we do not know the other concepts. So, kailangan yung guidance ng teacher doon. Pero, sa mga bagay na...
Tulad po ng mga prop-ed subjects, tulad ng mga subject na ganito. Since mahina po ako sa mga memorization,
okay,
mas okay po mag-lecture po ako kesa sa makinig sa teacher.
Okay. So, well, that's good that you know about your learning habits. Okay? You know how to assess yourself. So, you would know how to adjust. Okay? Yan yung mga bagay-bagay na minsan nakalilimutan nating ituro sa ating mga learners. Okay? We tend to forget basic things like teaching them how to learn. Okay? By means of assessing themselves as a learner. na kapag na-realize na at pina-realize mo na eto siya as a learner, that's the starting point. They would know what to change and where to start. Hindi yung turo ka lang ng turo without having this action or decision to make your learners realize about their learning habits. Okay, again, learning theories or other learner-centered theories states that learning may happen through experience and interaction. And I accept all of these concepts. Kahit ano-ano pang perspective yan, change in behavior, it can be deliberate or yung planned or unintentional, yung hindi naman pinlano. It can be through experience or interaction. These are all true. Okay, based on my personal experience as teacher. Okay, we are still on the analysis of learner-centered theories. Look to the goals and objectives of education as our guide to successfully affect the desired learning outcome. So if you want your learners to gain something, tignan mo muna yung goals and objectives mo. Ano ba ang gusto mong matutunan nila? Baka naman mamaya, okay, what you are doing is that you are testing something that you did not teach. Okay, you are testing something that you did not state as one of your objectives. Okay, the question is, what do you want your learners to gain, to learn? Pag tinignan mo ang lesson plan mo, nasa objectives yan. Okay, at the end of the lesson, okay, the learners are expected to define. Katulad yung kanina, yung mga nandun sa objectives natin na in-state ko, or which I stated a while back in this presentation, those are the learning outcomes, the expected learning outcome. Okay, that's plural, outcomes. Okay? So, look to the goals and objectives of education as our guide. Huwag niyong kalilimutan yan. Madalas dito tayo nagkakamali as teachers. We keep on testing and testing and testing just to realize that what we are testing, what we are assessing and evaluating are not the things that we stated into our goals and objectives. It's like expecting something from our learners na hindi naman natin binigay. So parang ganito yan, anong karapatan mong hingin yung isang bagay na hindi mo binigay? Linya yun sa isang pelikula. If I remember it right, no? So ganun din sa pagtuturo, anong karapatan mong tanungin, okay? Anong karapatan mong i-request, i-test yung mga bagay-bagay na hindi mo naman tinuro. So speaking of learning, if you will ask yourself, what do I want my learners to learn? It's clear that it is stated in your goals and objectives. Let's move. Burns, in 1995, ito, another perspective from an expert, defined learning as a relatively permanent change in behavior, including both observable activity and internal processes. Yung kanina, di ba, isang perspective, sinabi natin na ang learning, it happens when it is observable or if there is a change in behavior. Ayan, si Burns naniniwala siya doon. And Burns emphasized that it's both observable, pwedeng nyo nakikita, like kung natutunan ng addition, then give problems in addition, sasagutan niya, pag may sagot, tama, then change in behavior. Or it could be internal processes, like yung reasoning nyo. And sometimes you will wonder why this kid, na akala mo hindi nakikinig, but when you suddenly or immediately call this learner to answer a question, he can respond. Nasasagot niya ng tama. That's what we mean by internal processes. It could be both observable or internal processes. Na parang hindi siya nakikinig, pero kaya pala niyang gawin yung multitasking. Okay? So again, it doesn't mean that a child is not speaking, is not moving, is not doing.